Hello, I'm Apostle Ricky Floyd, overseer of the Pursuit of God Transformation Center right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Listen, I'm so excited that you tuned into our telecast today. We believe that we have a relevant word that's going to cause transformation, prosperity, peace, and wisdom to enter into your life. So listen, stay tuned and prepare yourself to be transformed. And so tonight we're going to be dealing with a hot topic. Somebody say a hot topic.
Hot topic.
And we're going to open up a can of worms. I mean, afterwards they got a game called a can of worms. So we're going to have a game called a can of worms. But we want to talk to you tonight about a very much needed topic. And we want to tell you in advance, calm down and relax. Don't be tense. Don't be stressed out. Don't be anticipating driving home fighting. Just chill. Tell your neighbor, just chill now.
Just chill.
Amen. Tell them, calm down.
Now,
Amen.
this time look each other in the face if you came with them.
Yeah, if you came with them.
Because
if you're going to sleep with them tonight.
Right.
Amen. Hurry up, Jerron. I'm trying to help you. All right, tonight's topic is how to avoid and overcome affairs. We oftentimes say that the best medicine is preventive medicine. Mm-hmm. The best medicine is preventive medicine. So we're going to share with you some principles that are going to allow you to prevent. And then if you have had an affair, we want to tell you that it does not mean that that's the end of your marriage. As a matter of fact, some of the couples that we have counseled with marriage, their marriage after the affair is 10 times better than it was before the affair. But what most people do is most people just stay together and then eventually fizzle and fade out. So we're going to give you, again, we're going to share with you some principles, some tools on how to avoid it. We're going to share with you some principles and tools how to watch it as it is approaching you. It doesn't just happen. You know, a lot of times we say, what happened? I don't know. It just happened. You do know, and it didn't just happen. There are some markers along the way that we're going to have you to be able to identify when there's potential coming. And listen, many times your spouse has a keen sense of discernment. When they tell you to watch out, you need to watch out. You don't need to argue. You don't need to talk about you grown and all that stuff. You need to watch out when your spouse, especially men, women have a sense of discernment about their stuff. Amen. All their stuff, they have a sense of discernment. Amen. You can use some of their stuff. You been in my lotion? No. No, discernment tell them.
Amen.
You been in the lotion, player. Amen. You can still be ashy, but they know. You've been in the lotion. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach what constitutes an affair. What constitutes an affair? We teach a thing that says that definitions determine direction. See, if I give you a definition, the definition is going to lead you in a direction. That direction will lead you to a destination. Now, that destination will lead you away from destiny. And all of that starts with the definition. If you have the wrong definition, you will always end up at the wrong destination. Mm-hmm. If you have the right definition, then you can end up at the right destination. And some of us have wrong definitions of husband, wrong definition of men. We have wrong definition of marriage, and we have wrong definition of affairs. Affairs doesn't necessarily, you can have affair without ever penetrating anybody, but being penetrated. And so many times we think, well, I ain't do nothing wrong. Yes, you did. Just because y'all didn't inject each other yet doesn't mean that you didn't have an affair. People usually don't set out to commit adultery. At least the average saved person don't. You don't get up this morning and say, I'm going to go find somebody that I know nothing about, that I just want to sleep with on my wife or on my... So people don't intentionally set out to do adultery. It's one of those things that snags them before they know what has happened. It's like kind of like the frog. A frog, you can put a frog in some water and put it on the stove. And as the temperature temperature heats up on the water, it can get to the point that it boils and the frog will stay in there. And then also to the point that it boils and the water dries all up, you will find that the frog is still in the water, done fried to death. And many times that's the way adultery, it creeps up on us to the point that it starts out subtly. It may start out with something as simple as a, hey. And then next time you know, you done found yourself in Motel 8. But it started out with a hey. It started off simple. So it gradually shifts and transitions and pulls you into a place that you're not supposed to be. Adultery affects not only the people that are involved, but it affects everyone that's close to you. Adultery affects your church. It affects your job. It affects your children. So many of our children have seen abusive and bad relationships and adultery and domestic violence that many of our children nowadays want no part of marriage. You know, when we were young, especially the girls, you hear girls now that don't want to be married. When we was in the 4th grade, girls used to be trying to get you gonna be my husband one day. but because we've seen so much dysfunction that marriage is not now for the younger generation, it's not a sought out institution. It's kind of like church. Don't nobody want no part of it. It's considered old fashioned. Now, although adultery is rampant, it should be taken serious and prevented. Listen to me. It should be prevented before it ever gets started. My mother used to say this thing. She said, the best way to stop a thing, anybody else mama used to say that? The best way to stop a thing is to never let it get started.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once a locomotion, once a train get rolling, it's hard to stop it. Now, Webster's definition of adultery is a voluntary sexual intercourse between a married man and someone other than his wife. I think they made that adjustment. In the 50s, it probably said a woman other than his wife, but now it don't necessarily have to be no woman. There's a blues song that says, your Uncle Bill is about to be your new stepmama. Yeah, there's a blues song that says your Uncle Bill is finna be your new stepmama. So it doesn't have to be a woman. Now, anyone that's other than your wife or other than your husband. It's having secret sexual relationship with someone who is not your spouse. You know, some of these deep spiritual people try to say, we had a rapper come to town one time, and so he told us he was married. And so we finna put the brother up in a hotel with his wife. And so somehow I said, how long y'all been married? And he started dip dobbing around. And he said, well, you know, the government didn't marry us. I knew there was some drama in the game then. So he talking about basically he think because they done had sex, that's his wife. I can't pay for y'all no hotel room on the church money. I can't do that. So it's a secret sexual relationship with someone who is not your spouse. If you don't have papers, that's not your spouse. That's like the appetizer. That's nachos. And nacho. That's nacho. You can put cheese on it, but it's still nacho. Now, it is defined as a relationship. It's courting, it's a fling, it's intrigue, it's flirtation, it's infidelity, it's a romantic or a passionate attachment. So you can be having adultery with someone and they don't even know it. In other words, you lusting and having passionate affection with them and having secret relationship with them while you take your shower.
Amen.
Okay. Having secret relationships with them in the shower and they don't even know it. You helping yourself out. You still cheating.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you still cheated with Beyonce. Yeah, you cheated with LL Cool J. You did it. You and Denzel, you cheated. Denzel didn't know about it, but y'all cheated. Now, it matters. It causes public anxiety. It causes controversy. Hence your favorite TV show, Scandal. See, adultery is scandalous. It's a setup to distract you from destiny. And we don't realize society, all of the music industry, all of the TV industry now is set up to really push you or guide you toward adultery. When you leave here today, go listen to your radio, and I bet if you listen for 3 hours, you cannot go 3 songs in a row where it's not talking about adultery or fornication. You cannot. So now just imagine you listening to secular radio, everything, and everything is programming us, y'all, to have adultery and fornication, to cheat with somebody, to sleep with somebody, to free. And it ain't just the young people, don't y'all blame me, because one of my old songs was, "It's morning and we slept the night away. It happened and we can," listen, we call that a love song. You done slept with somebody that you ain't had no business with. This is what we call a love song.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the Whitney Houston song,
Yeah.
"Saving All My Love for You." That's about her cheating with a married man.
Yeah. Saving a love for the married me.
Me and Mrs. Jones.
Me and Mrs. Jones. If loving you is wrong.
I don't want to be right.
See, we can't just blame it on the young children. I don't want to be right. I'm just going to stay stuck on wrong if loving you is wrong. All right. Now, so according to the biblical definition, adultery is a sexual act that's committed outside of the marital relationship, and it's against the marriage. You got to understand, it's against the marriage. All of these definitions spell danger. All of these definitions lead to disaster. All of these definitions leads to divorce. And all of these definitions will cause some form of demonic possession to come upon you. What was demonic depression? It will cause divorce. It will cause depression. It will cause debt, D-E-B-T. It will cause early death. It can cause disease to come on you. All of these will come through the form of an affair. How does an affair start? The more time you spend away from your spouse during the day, the greater the temptation for an illicit affair becomes. The more time you spend away from your spouse. That's why you have to get to the point that you have to make time for your spouse. You know, there's some situations where you have to. I know Joe and I were on a job. We had to work 12 hours a day. You know, and you take 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get home, 30 minutes to wind down, 30 minutes to get up, all of that. And so you spent 15, and then you're trying to get some sleep. But you have to make spending quality time with your spouse a priority. Now, I read a statistic probably 15 years ago that says if you spend more than 300 hours with a person, if you spend more than 300 hours with a person one-on-one, it increases to about a chance of 70 to 80% chance of you all having an affair. That's why many times affairs very rarely happen. Affairs that totally destroy households very rarely happen with strangers. Many times it's a brother-in-law, it's a sister-in-law, it's a associate, it's a secretary, it's the music director and the choir director, it's the pastor and the secretary. Most of the time it's people who spend exorbitant amounts of unaccountable time with each other. So, bro, when your spouse tell you, man, you spending too much time with her, pay attention. When your husband tells you, you up there too much, just y'all two up there? No, that's not healthy. And see, many times, like again, the secretary and the reverend didn't plan on doing nothing. The coach, the football coach and the cheerleader coach, they didn't plan on doing nothing. What happened? That time turns into, listen, intimacy that you're not getting at home. And intimacy and soul ties come from you revealing secrets to each other. The last thing men and women you need to do is expose the lack that you have in your home. Any kind of lack that you have in your home is not up to discussion with somebody of the opposite sex with you. Unless it's your mama. And many times don't even tell your mama. Because I've seen people who have told their mama, and their mama went back and told the girl that they really wish they would have married.
Oh, my Lord.
And the girl that the mama wished they really would have married got this information. Oh, son, your wife ain't giving you none? She go tell the girl, the ex-girlfriend, she ain't giving her none. Girlfriend send some of them sex messages. Amen.
And see, that's the danger too of working 2 and 3 jobs.
Yeah.
See, we'll say we can't afford to tithe.
Right.
And then we'll notice, even with 2 or 3 jobs, we can't follow the biblical principle that God has put in place for our financial security. So now what we're doing is we're going out and we're spending time and time away. And I'm sorry, you just cannot have a healthy relationship without spending quality time, because I can assure you in the dating process, you found that time.
Oh, you made a way out of no way.
Everything you do in the dating process. Come on, somebody say everything.
Everything.
Everything we did in the dating process or are doing in the dating process, you got to keep that up. Because otherwise, you lied. Yeah. You tricked me. I thought you was going to open the door for me every day after we got married, but you opened the door for me every day before we got married. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And then you go to work. Now, the boss opening the door for you. Now, he ain't doing it for his wife. Yeah. Come right on in, Miss Susie.
The husband telling you done got too fat, and the boss saying, ooh, you thick, girl.
But fat, see, but you spending 8, 10, 12 hours on that job. You seeing each other. Can I get you anything, sir?
Yeah,
well, that's how you said that to your spouse.
Yeah, meeting all the love language. You're fixing the boss coffee. You're telling him he looked nice today. You touched him on his shoulder. I know you stressed out, Mr. Boss Man. Your husband touched you. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off. Listen, so in society, we glamorize adultery. Matter of fact, I want y'all to think of some songs that glamorize adultery. One just came to me. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Come on, what's some of the other songs that glamorize? Your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side. I hope I don't trigger nobody in here tonight. What you had, Evan? All the things, yes. Yes, all the things that your man won't do. See, then you done told him all the things that man, what he ain't doing. He won't do this. He won't do that. He don't never do it. He talking about that's nasty. He won't do that. And guess what he gonna say? You know, I like doing that. You done reveal to somebody how to slaughter you.
That's right.
This is how you kill me.
And then had a nerve to say, I don't see how in the world Samson let that happen.
Yeah.
Because you're revealing your weaknesses.
So we we hear it so much, we become conditioned to think that it's normal. See, not only we hear it, we saw our auntie and uncle, he had his girlfriend, she had his boyfriend. We see stuff our mom and dad, and we see little signs, little stuff they had around there. And then we heard, well, the Reverend doing it. You know, we look at that as Matthew's show. And see, the Reverend did it, so everybody's doing it. No, everybody ain't doing it. Right. And some folks that did it or doing it is trying to get out of it. So it's not right. But it's the Bible that paints the true picture of what adultery is. The Bible remember, the Bible is our owner's manual. It is what tells us what family is. It's what tells us what's right. The Bible should be what tells us that's wrong. What's wrong?
Well, first of all, we have to know that, sex is the gift to the married couple. Yeah. So when we don't understand the thing he spoke earlier, he says if we don't understand, if we don't have the proper definition, then we'll mess some stuff thinking, oh, I thought I could do what you say. I thought I can What you say all the time? You say I gotta we just socking it. I thought I could sock it to whoever I wanted to. It's my thing. I can do what I want to do. You can't tell me who to sock it to. If I got papers, you told me that you vowed before God, man, my family, and everybody. Now you bringing shame and embarrassment to me. You lied to God, you lied to me, you lied to them. Oh, till death do us part. You know, and then all of a sudden, well, what I meant to say is, till you start cooking again.
And the Bible tells us once you get married, it ain't even your thing no more.
That's right.
It says your body is not your own.
That's the word.
Matter of fact, you can't even go on a fast from sin. You can't get spiritual. I don't want to do nothing for 30 days. I'm going on a fast. No, your spouse got to agree with you about that fast. He said, the Lord ain't told me that. Matter of fact, the Lord said we need to do 2 a days for 30 days.
Just for you lying on God.
Well, Lord didn't tell me, okay, let's meet in the middle, 1 a day for the next 30 days.
All right. So now adultery has history. This ain't nothing new. Wife swapping, nothing new. Trying to, get with somebody that's not your own, nothing new. Adultery has been around since Abraham and Jacob, the first recorded husbands to be unfaithful to their wives. Later, God recorded his position on adultery in the 7th commandment that says, thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, it's interesting. We say, you act like I killed somebody. You did. You just broke one of God's 10 commandments. So it has the same effect. In other words, God sees it in the same light. Throughout biblical history, God's chosen servants even fell into adultery. So here we had King David, who cheated on his wife with Bathsheba. And the interesting thing is, he did that because he was someplace he wasn't supposed to be. But we don't want accountability. I'm grown. You don't tell me what time to be in this house. Why you want to know where I'm going? Because you're my spouse. Because we're not like everybody else. Because supposedly you didn't want to be single no more. You see? So, but the interesting thing about it is God will always reveal it. Wow. It's going to get revealed. You know what? He used the prophet Nathan to tell David, now you out of order. You think David was over there Nathan was in the bathhouse with Bathsheba or at his house or up on the roof watching him watch another man? So now you got one married man looking at another married man's wife and then usurping his authority and power to arrange that. So now he just all out of order. And the bad thing is, this was God's favorite son. Wow. Look, David. Oh, the chosen one, the one that's going to take over, for Saul, the one who was the little shepherd boy that served on the backside of the mountain and God was pleased with. Now he got the big head. Now what he got ain't enough. So in 2 Samuel.
Let me touch on something. You kind of triggered something. And I want to say this because I know this is a very, very tense topic. But the man of God, David, sinned, but God didn't throw him away. So just in case, if your spouse has sinned, if God didn't throw David away, don't you justify throwing your spouse away because they've sinned. I hope y'all are hearing that. God still, when David repented, God did not change his mind toward his assignment. He still said, I'm going to use you, and I'm going to use your seed, and I'm going to let Jesus come through your lineage, the man that sinned. So if you're in this room and your spouse has had an affair, if God didn't throw them away, don't you throw your spouse. Let me ask you this question. Do you think you're better than God? Do you think you're smarter than God? No, go ahead.
So I'm going to read this through you. So we're on 2 Samuel 12, verse 7 through 9. And it says, Nathan then said to David, you are the man. Thus says the Lord God of Israel, it is I who anointed you king over Israel, and it is I who delivered you from the hand of Saul. I also gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your care, and I gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if that had been too little, I would have added to you many more things like these. Why have you despised the word of the Lord by doing evil in his sight? And so if many of you know the story of David, you understand that not only did David, commit adultery with another man's wife, he ended up having the husband killed. And so God was saying here, now I gave you a wife. And for David, he said, I gave you your master's wives. So you had what you needed at home. I want you to get the point. You had what you needed at home. And then it says, and that if there had been too little, if you had have just asked of me, I would have given you these things. And so I wanted to point that out because I know we're looking at, well, David had 2, 3, 4 wives. Why it seems like we can't have 2, 3, 4 wives? And see, I know it's some folks right now that's walking around with collars that still believe that. But that's not the law of the land. And, and that's not what you vowed to do now. If you sister wives, more power to you. Y'all agreed to that. You see what I'm saying? But if you married one person, you got to understand God knows what he's doing and he's still the provider. So if you ain't getting what you need at home, hear me, this is for men or women. You're not getting what you need at home, and God saying, I'm the one who provided for that home. You come to me. And he says, I would have given you many more of these things. I would have done that and more, but you decided to go and do it outside of my will. So if you stay in the will of God and keep his commandments, whatever you're missing at home, especially at home, ask God and he'll give it into your care. In other words, obedience brings increase. You see, there's a principle at work.
And there you have it. You've just experienced what takes place regularly at the Transformation Center. Listen, we just want to invite you to come on in and have a real encounter. Go to our website at thepursuitofgod.org or call us at 901-353-5772 so that we can give you more information about what we're doing and keep you abreast to all of the services and the events that we have. We trust that God met you at the point of your expectation, and we just encourage you, come and fellowship with us at the Transformation Center.